Hey everyone, and on our podcast show this week, Google released a bunch of new products that leaked months ago. Ho, ho, ho. And this is what we think of them. Joining me this week and every week is Winston Shim. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I've just been kind of like shopping like crazy over the last couple of weeks. I got myself some new stuff, my headphones and all sorts. So, yeah, shopping galore.
And as of this recording, it is Amazon Prime Day in Canada. The Prime Preview is happening between October 11th and 12th. Today, as we're recording the show, it's October 12th. So we're a little bit behind on the the Google event, but we're gonna catch up and give you our thoughts on what they've put out here. So the Made by Google event, unfortunately, all surprising, not as flashy as Cupertino or even Korea with Samsung. And the Mountainview, California company has been leaking their products ever since the last event, which is, I don't know if this is like a new strategy for them. And in fact, in the first after 5 minutes, they already showed us exactly what the new products were, which is like, there's no suspense, there's no showmanship. What do you think of the strategy? Like, is this supposed to drag us along?
Yeah, well, Google as a company has never been kind of like that user consumer type of product. They're more like the geeks. They're really like, service stuff, the hands-on stuff. But yeah, I mean, the phones, I mean, they got the Android, right? So the Android is in every single smartphone out there, bar Apple. But as a company, they do a lot of service stuff. They do a lot of the Chrome stuff, the OS stuff. So products as a whole is never really their main thing, but they do release some really good products, of course. So I guess it's not about the leaks. They don't really know how to kind of like reach out to the consumer or customer. But yeah, they do good products, and Pixel phone is one of them, of course. My brother uses that a lot. So yeah, it's how they handle it, I suppose.
Well, it's interesting that they also mentioned that they are growing their retail footprint. In the first few minutes, they did mention that they did have a new Google store that was opening, a Google experience. So hopefully this means that they're really doubling down on this thing. We've seen in the past that some other big corporations like Microsoft, they retrenched. They actually took all of their retail locations off the board and went online. So hopefully this means that Google, with their money, that they can actually go toe to toe and give this unique experience that Apple has. But also even Amazon doesn't have that yet. And I feel that in a lot of ways, Google is the only other real option in the home space to Amazon Alexa. Full disclosure, I use Alexa because it just simply works better than Google at the moment. But I'm willing to give Google a chance if they're willing to step up and give us some things that we should be looking for. And to be perfectly honest, I don't like we were mentioned here, Google has been leaking stuff along the way. It's a very interesting way to kind of string people along, make them wait to buy their next device. And I'm sure a few people out there did wait for Google to solidify what these leaks would become, real products, right? If they should get in on what Samsung and Apple announced early, or should they just wait to have these things solidified this year? And here's what you've been waiting for. So let's go ahead, and this is a little bit out of order than what the event actually spoke about. Because as I was doing all the notes, I saw all the products that were leaked 5 minutes in. I'm like, okay, it's going to be this, this, and this. So we're going to do this a little bit out of order, starting with the Pixel Watch. We're going to get to we're going to spoil this because seems to be the Google theme. It's going to be $349 for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and $399 for the LTE USD model. Looks very lightweight. Looks like a enhanced version of the Fitbit Sense design, but with a circular bezel. Comes with 3 months of YouTube Music Premium and 6 months of the Fitbit Premium service, which includes mindfulness exercises, thousands of them, 400 videos, etc. There's a lot there. Those. But as a watch guy, I'm going to defer to you, Winston. What did you think of this new Google Pixel Watch?
Yeah, I mean, it's competing against that watch space, right? I mean, it's probably one of the hottest kind of sector consumer product right now. People are buying the Apple Watch, Of course, you have the Google Watch. The Samsung released their watch, right? The Galaxy Watch. And so it's that kind of space where fitness, and you get notification, health monitor, that kind of stuff. And I think it all gels together, especially with the OS that they have, right? Because Android OS and things like that. So as a whole, as a product, I think it's good. The Pixel, the brand, I mean, it is a brand, right, from Google. So I think they can take this Pixel brand higher, bigger, if they have direct marketing, right? So especially now, because you have all the App Store, which is their Play Store, right, for apps. It's all integrated. So why can't they really push it out, make it a really good brand, compete against Samsung or Apple and things like that? So as a watch, it is good. It's got all the stuff that you need. And price-wise, it is attractive. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's about the same price as the outgoing not Pixel Watch, but the Galaxy Watch 4s. They're about the same price range. What I found interesting, and this is actually probably one of the saving graces for this particular watch, is that it's actually targeted at the polar opposite of the people that would be buying the Apple Watch Ultra. So you can see in some of the video in their presentation, if you have a look at that later on, they targeted people that were older, maybe not as in shape as some of those mountain climbers that Apple was going after, which was actually to their benefit, because this watch has some of the most up-to-date technology for heart rate tracking, for atrial fibrillation and ECG, EKG measurement. It's one of their top features. In fact, they said specifically that this watch is actually as like a timepiece for your heartbeat and measures every single second, which means that the battery life should be horrible, and it is. It's only 24 hours, which is, to me, it's terrible. It's actually gross.
That is bad.
It's bad, right? The other thing that kind of puts it into the casual user space, and I'm going to call it that because, again, Ultra is like mountain climber, diver. This is a casual watch. It's not supposed to snag on your clothing. It's got, according to this, what they showed off, it's got thousands of different watch bands and colors. Some of them are fabric, which means that they click on your watch. There's no pin system, so it's kind of a proprietary type system where it's like for a camera, it just kind of twists into place. And what that signifies is that it's more of a fashion item. You wear it every day. It's probably very lightweight, and you're supposed to sleep with it.
I mean, compared to Apple's watch, Apple's if you got the Ultra, it's a sports watch, right?
Oh yeah,
it's a really intense activity type of watch, which you can track all sorts of activities and have all that data, right? This watch is more of, like I said, a casual watch, and you can wear it daily, 24 hours charge. 24 hours,
I have a problem with that.
At the end of the night, go back to bed and charge it. But I think it's more marketed at the again everyday ordinary people out there, people who are maybe wanting to get into that fitness kind of routine, but they're not like that ultra sport kind of, like, that guy who does mountain climbing or anything like that. He just wants to do probably regular walking instead of just sitting in your car and drive, right? I mean, you could just walk down to your grocery shop or your garage or whatever, gas station, and it could be like a half kilometer walk or 1 kilometer walk, but back, it's kind of like more of a small kind of activity tracking device, right? And monitors all that kind of health stuff. So it's okay. I mean, it's a kind of watch I could buy, for example, and give it to my dad and say, "Hey, you going to wear one of these?"
Seems to me that this is the analog to the Apple Watch SE, because this has a lot of the same features. They are claiming that in the next few months that they're going to be putting in the fall detection and everything like that as an OS upgrade to the watch. Presently, it already has emergency SOS built into it, but of course, when you buy a product, you never buy it for the promise of future software updates, because they may never happen. And with Google's track record of killing stuff off after 6 months, like Stadia recently in the news, that was terrible. They gave refunds to everyone. So honestly, I have to see what they have in store here, because first of all, they have Fitbit as a brand. They never mentioned Google Fit in any of the presentation at all.
The the Fitbit. Did they buy Fitbit out?
They bought Fitbit,
They didn't.
and they've integrated a lot of the same features that Fitbit has. However,
that's
Fitbit still exists as the existing entity, specifically with their own operating system. So to me, that's kind of weird. And their watches aren't actually that much cheaper. I mean, the Sense 2, which just recently arrived, I think it's just a few dollars less than this, but it's still an expensive fitness-based watch. This obviously does a lot more. It still has horrible battery life, which I can't figure out why they did that. I mean, maybe it is something to do with the way Wear OS does provision, and it's not efficient and it's not updated yet. Maybe we will get an efficiency update in the future. But looking at the list, it seems like Fitbit will become a memory as soon as the next version of this comes out, because we have all of, like, I have a Fitbit. I used it before I got my first real smartwatch, which was a Wear OS watch, and they've got the Fitbit whole ecosystem. They actually asked you to register with the Fitbit app, not the Wear OS Google Fit app, which is first integration. The second thing is that something that was unique to Fitbit was the Bitmoji. It's like the Snapchat emoji Bitmoji thing. So that's in here. Right. To point of record, it never worked on my Fitbit. So hopefully it works here. I don't know what happened there. It just kept crashing the watch. And the other thing too is I'm finding that because of the integration of all the exercises and everything like that, this is a Fitbit. This is a Fitbit.
Yeah, most big companies like Google or other big companies, they buy smaller companies and they take all the technology out, right? I mean, it was one time when Google bought, was it Motorola?
Yes, they bought Motorola.
And they bought Motorola, took all the good bits out,
and then they threw it away.
so sold it to Lenovo or some other guy, right? It was
bought by Lenovo, I think. That's why they have the Razr.
Yeah. So anyway, but I do like about this watch is they have integrated Google Maps.
Yes.
And Google Maps have always been a top-notch application from Google. It's one of the best ones I use all the time, and I use it for driving. I use it for just walking, tracking, whatever, and it is integrated into this watch. So I like that.
One thing that's really funny is that Google Wallet is integrated into this watch now.
Oh, the Google Wallet, the one that you just pay with the watch.
But you know what's
cool.
weird?
That's cool.
Fitbit used to have their own wallet system. It never worked. It never integrated with any banks or anything like that. It only worked with like TransLink, which was the only transit service in British Columbia to work with it. But I couldn't integrate it with any of my credit cards. It didn't work with my banks. It didn't work with anything. It was pieces. Like, honestly, it was crap. The only other app that I found that worked with it was just my Starbucks card, which isn't actually available on Wear OS. So maybe that's the defining feature that makes it stick around.
Yeah.
But
so with that, they're going to have integrated wallets. That's good, because that's one of these things that are becoming more popular now, having wallets integrated into their phones, the watches, and things like that. It is quite handy. You don't have to take out your wallet and search for the car. You don't have to bring up your phone and then punch in your PIN number. You just double click on the thing because it's already on your wrist, so it knows that's you, and then you just pay for the thing, and that's cool.
But pros and cons, though. The other day I was actually at a store and I saw that these two joggers ran in. They were getting their pops and maybe some lottery tickets after their run because they were sweaty and everything. They tried to pay with their watch, but it didn't actually work. It didn't work
because of the sweat.
I don't know. It didn't tap, so the system would not accept it. This was a Shoppers Drug Mart, like a Watsons or something like that in the UK or elsewhere, or Rite Aid,
like a Boots.
And they went in, they grabbed their muscle milks and everything like that, and they were about to pay for them, and the guy couldn't get it to work, so they left everything at the counter, which I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So it seems like that particular part of the ecosystem, and they had Apple Watches too, so it wasn't a Google thing. It was just this type of payment may not be ready for prime time. You still need a backup card.
I think once you get into mainstream, it could be another year or two down the line, but you can see slowly a lot of the kind of retailers are going for this option as well.
So I just thought it was interesting to see that happened. I mean, imagine if you had a Fitbit and you tried to pay for something. It has no wallet. So maybe this is kind of that saving grace. And that, again, with the way that it's built, there's no crystal on it. And you know how we feel about that, right? Crystal.
Oh yeah, yeah,
makes
yeah.
it
You gotta have
scratch-resistant.
that's right. You gotta have a crystal sapphire because sapphire is on every smartwatch or one of these premium watches. But it helps with the scratch resistance, and I think it's the kind of thing that you definitely need, especially if it's like a smartwatch or an activity watch. So this one doesn't come with it.
It was really
Is that what
funny
you're saying?
how they were so excited about the
Oh,
remote
yeah,
camera
yeah.
app, which is already on Apple Watches, which
The
is already on
Samsung as
Samsung.
well. Yeah.
They were very excited about this, but they didn't show it off in a really creative way. I mean, yes, you could zoom in with the watch bezel. That's great. But they didn't show how it could be creatively used. It was just two people at a river taking taking a photo together. Like, can't they show like a TikTok dance? Can't they show like they were, they're running around and doing something? It just, I don't know. It seemed very vanilla the way that they put this event together.
Yeah,
And I wasn't inspired. Honestly, I wasn't inspired by that demo. Anyhow, I think we've touched on the new Google Pixel Watch enough. We've got the pricing out there for you. It's available now. So as of recording of this, they've already in the wild. You can get them from your service providers, your big box stores, and also from the Google store as well too. Keep an eye for offers as well too. There may be trade-in offers somewhere, which I will be looking for because maybe in my old Fitbit for this. Who knows if it's available? Pricing and offers are regional specific, so don't hold us to that if we say something that might not be happening in your region. Going on to Google Pixel Tablet. Now, this is the first leaked product because it will not be arriving until sometime in 2023. We don't know when. Probably after CES or during CES next year, we might say something about it. But all I can say is that, guys, will you take my Nexus 7 tablet back? Because that thing was dead on arrival. It was only good for a couple years, and then it was dead. I still have it, but it doesn't do anything anymore. It's just a brick. So this new one, I'm kind of worried about as well too, because it looks like a Google Nest Hub Max. If you've ever seen that device, it is basically their Google Assistant powered device, like a Echo Show 10.
Echo Show, the Echo Show tablet, right?
Echo Show tablet.
I've seen that one.
Except in this case, the base is removable, and you can pick up the tablet and take it with you. Now, according to them, these types of devices, 80% of the time, these tablets stay in the house, so you're not taking this anywhere. So they didn't mention battery life, which is probably the reason why it's probably crap. And it does have the Tensor G2 chip on board, which means a lot of the processing is on board. They did also emphasize the fact that it is really good at Google Home stuff. So maybe that, like a control panel, maybe it'll work really well for that.
Yeah.
Your initial thoughts on this?
Well, I looked at it's. I mean, tablets. It had its phase, right? I mean, 2, 3, 4 years ago, tablets came out. Everyone was like going crazy about. I had one. I had an Apple one. I had a Samsung one, the Samsung Galaxy Tab. Right. It was great. Great for kids. Great for just watching movies and things like that. And then moving on, I think as technology went on, I think the smartphones got so powerful that tablets are really, kind of, it's still going to be around, but it won't be as dominant kind of in that market anymore.
Yeah.
And releasing tablets nowadays is, again, what you said, for the home automation stuff. I think that would be really good for what tablets are being used for now. Nothing special really, to be honest on it. I couldn't see anything that, I would rush out to buy this Pixel tablet. Maybe it's for people who, for example, like, again, older generation who can't really use a small smartphone. Have a tablet now with a bigger screen, and it's easier for them on the eyes and things like that. It's easier for them to touch. So I'll give it a miss. But has anything special? Any special features on there, which is like unusual?
I think that some of the things that they did say that was actually kind of hidden in the minutiae is that they did talk about split screen support and a stylus support. So I don't know if this is something that will be highlighted when it launches in 2023. leaked right now, launching in 2023. So maybe people are waiting now to see what happens. But this is an interesting thing because split screen support has been is being worked on, of course, through Samsung, which the folds and everything, and of course even the Surface Duo, which has a true split screen experience, which works very well as a productivity tool with Microsoft Office and all those different apps. So will we see a partnership with Microsoft to bring that into the space? They did show in some of their video that there were students that were going out and they kept it in a room. They're taking it with them to school. So perhaps this might be it's really interesting how they're so vague in what it does, but they've dropped split screen support and stylus support. They showed a kid taking it to school. If this is the use case scenario where you're going after the grade school kids without focusing on Chrome, the Chromebooks anymore, then this needs to be an affordable device. The dock itself,
it needs to be.
It looks like it's a separate piece. It's not. It's not. It doesn't come with it. It has a magnet. It snaps into place.
Separate.
It looks like it to me. Again, we don't know enough, so maybe they'll bundle it together. Maybe they won't. They probably won't.
What would you say is affordable price? $299, kind of.
Based on the fact that most school-age children are buying $200 to $249 Chromebooks. If this was given to my daughter, and she's a tween, I would spend up to $500 for her, but I probably wouldn't want to. So it'd be $349 for me max. So if this was
$349, $399, kind of like similar to the watch price.
That would be acceptable to me, mainly because it's a bigger screen. But battery life would be my concern because, again, even though it has the Tensor G2 inside, it might be overclocked to be more powerful, right?
Yeah, that uses more battery juice.
So it's a bigger display as well too. You're powering a much larger display. You are also digitizers on board. Like alleged stylus support, split screen support. It might have like the Matter support for home. So all the automation and everything like that, just running in the background. I don't, again, we don't know enough. So it seems like Google is trying to let us make up our own minds for now before they release this. But if the price is $349, it's an intriguing device that I might stick in my home if Google gives me enough reason to replace Alexa.
That's true.
That is
That's
the
true.
only reason why.
Yeah. If you have old Pixel devices or any of the Google old stuff, and they take it back as a part of the recycling kind of program, then I'll go for that.
Yeah, we mentioned that in the Amazon event too. It's like I have like Echo Dots from the first generation around the house. If they gave me an opportunity to just get $20 back for that in exchange for the new Echo Dot, I would totally do that because I don't want this thing to end up in the garbage. I don't want this thing. Yeah. So
it's something that a lot of these big companies are going for now. Is the recycling, because it gives you that kind of hey, I've got some old device, I'll trade it in, they'll take care of it, I'll get a new device. Yeah. So it makes it easier. Now, a
couple things along that recycling route is that the Google Pixel tablet is made from a 100% recycled aluminum body. So that is probably one of the first times that I've heard of a completely 100% construction of a device. I know that everyone's moving towards that. I know that Google had a process in place to do that already. So it looks like they are meeting or exceeding their goals. The other thing too is that you remember the gross rubber coating that used to be on electronics because it felt nice and silky.
Oh yeah.
Well, they're all sticky now. Because all my keyboards that had that coating, they stick. Like they're so gross.
Yeah. Because it's just wear and tear, and also the age has a I won't say an expiry date, but it's just after a couple of number of years, it will just kind of become sticky.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's not nice.
I did clean it off with alcohol, but it ended up removing the coating completely, almost. So it doesn't work anymore. It's not soft. It's just plastic now, which seems pointless. Yeah. The nice thing about the new Google Pixel tablet is the fact that it does use this new nanoceramic coating, which is much more durable. It's basically sand coating a ceramic coating. So it has this kind of smooth sandpaper feel, so it doesn't slip out of your hand, which is nice, but it feels nice to the touch, but it's also more durable as well too, being that it's not rubber. It's a harder coating, so it'll protect the device. Looking at some of the one thing that they did point out is that they wanted to be a creator tool, and this is, again, if you're going to go after creators, you have to be a little bit more flashy. They showed the watch taking a photo of this lake of these two people not doing anything, a static shot, and then they showed the ability to actually push that photo using Nearby Share to the tablet to edit and then post. So I don't know.
It sounds really good, but in reality, how well does it work? I don't know. I've seen, you've seen those. I think it was either an advert or some product. It was advertised, and he was getting this a touchscreen monitor, and he had I think it was a picture or something, and he just touched that picture and just slide it across to a tablet,
like CSI,
and they slide it across to the laptop. Yeah. So that idea sounds great, right? In reality, I don't know. And if Google's trying to do that, then if it works, and wow, that's one of these selling points. And it's hard to implement because you have 3 different devices on like different kind of platforms. How do you actually get that working? But the idea, sounds great. So
yeah, I mean, they are pushing some technologies that will try to bring the ecosystem together better, like fast pair. Will work with all the devices regardless of what Wi-Fi network you're on. All the devices will pair, like the Pixel Buds. Single sign-on. So if you sign on to one device, it will already know what Wi-Fi networks are available. So it'll sign all the other devices onto the same network so they can communicate. So maybe this is the first step to allowing all these devices to talk together, to integrate together. And they're just dropping little Easter eggs for us to figure it out. I myself, seeing that they're trying to target the creator, they did a really poor job of that, because not a lot of pizzazz, not a lot of show off of how great this process is of creating. Definitely not going after that. At least I don't think so. Maybe they'll figure out a way, but who knows. But interesting device. We'll have to see which way they go. Will it be a productivity device with split screen and stylus? Will it be something that lives in the home, docked to the speaker, or will it be they're just trying to not get our hopes up, and maybe this is like the ultimate creator device as a hub for all your other devices? I mean, it's strange because Google have some really good devices such as the Pixel phone. We'll talk about that in a sec. But then they also have basically a dominant kind of share the market of OS, Android OS, right? And their Play Store and everything. So they have the infrastructure, they have the backing, they have everything in place, the resources and everything to create a product that is for really targeted at the consumer. And of course, they got the big competitors such as Amazon, and they got the Apple as well as one of their competitors. But for Google, they've never really kind of like do a flashy kind of like for consumers, something that really reaches out to everybody, like what Apple does, right? Like for example, my brother uses the Pixel stuff as well. He does, because he's a geek, right? So he just strips everything down and just use the product as is, and he can just program whatever he wants on that. But I think if Google kind of take this Pixel, this name, this brand, into a more consumer that reaches out to everybody, into a consumer product, I think they could do well. But being that, you need really good marketing team, you need a really good marketing budget, and you need to spend a load of money to just get it out there. That's something people don't realize, that marketing is a big chunk of money that you need to spend to reach out to the consumers that they need to get. And they also need to show creators using it in very innovative ways, rather than just showing 2 kids at a river taking a selfie of themselves by poking at their watch. I mean, that's been done before. Show me something creative. Show me something that inspires me to want this particular device over an iPad, over a Galaxy tablet. Like, I didn't see that here. So hopefully we're completely wrong and this thing is going to be dope. But moving on to something that is more dope will be, of course, the Pixel 7 series, which includes the Pro and the Pixel 7 that was leaked only months after the Pixel 6 was released. They were like, this is an official leak from Google. They're like, oh, what do you think of the 7 that we've got designed coming up? Like, I mean, is that really good, guys? Come on, right? So Pixel 7, basically it's got a, like the Pixel 7 Pro and the Pixel 7 seem like they're more or less the same phone. Like they look almost the same.
This is a bigger screen, right, on the Pro?
Bigger screen. Like the bigger screen has a, like it's upgraded 6.7-inch screen on QHD display, plus display on the Pixel 7 Pro. It's 25% brighter. The Pixel 7, the Pixel 7 itself also has the upgraded screen. It's 6.3 inches, you know, but it's 25% brighter. Yeah. It's FHD, full HD plus display, so it definitely will hopefully have better battery life. You know, dual facing cameras on the Pixel 7 versus the triple cameras on the Pixel 7 Pro, and there's a very good reason for that. Front face, like selfie cameras are about the same, larger sensor, of course, but you know, one thing that the Pixel 7 Pro has above the Pixel 7, and again, let's look at the commonalities between the two. You're going to get the latest Tensor G2 chip. It's 60% faster this year for machine learning. It's also 20% more efficient, so it's got better battery life this year. Android 13, the Titan M2 security chip, which is the same chip that they secure all of the Google Cloud servers with. So, you know, it's got industrial level of security and everything like that. And they threw some shade at Apple, of course, that on the always on feature was Pixel 2 first. Now Apple is doing it. They said night sight and astrophotography was on Pixel 3. Again, Apple's doing it. And car crash detection was 3 years ago. Also first on Pixel. So they kind of poked at each other there. Pixel also will be doing feature drops on the regular. So there will be new features coming out. Very similar to what Samsung Galaxy already does with their beta program. So they'll drop features, they'll get some feedback on it, and then they'll release it into the next update. So this seems like it's going to be a regular thing where new stuff, you don't have to wait for the next OS. It will be something that's ongoing and refined. 5 years of updates, which is fantastic. I believe that that's going to be the standard for Android. I think it's 4 with Samsung officially right now. They may push it to 5. So maybe this is a advantage for Pixel owners, is that they did get that 1 more year of updates. 72 hours of battery life for both with extreme battery saver. I think this is specific to the Pixel 7. They didn't mention that on the Pixel 7 Pro with the bigger screen, higher resolution. But having said that, though, the Pixel 7 Pro screen is 10 to 120 hertz variable refresh rate. The Pixel 7 does not have that screen, does not have that variable refresh rate. It appears to be, and I'm not 100% sure because they didn't mention it, but it looks like it's a fixed 60 hertz. Yeah,
probably to save that battery power as well. Difference. I mean, 72 hours is really good. I mean, if that's like 3 days worth, then you know I can, you know, I compared to my iPhone, I mean, I'm charging it every night, right? So, yeah, I mean, with the larger Pro, Pixel 7 Pro, you got a larger battery, so I'm guessing you'll probably be able to get like at least 2 days out of it with battery saving. The phones are very, very generic. If you look at the styling of the phone, it looks very generic. Hasn't got this huge like branding all over it or anything like that. I think a lot of people, especially like people like my brother, who loves kind of like, you know, messing around with the OS, messing around with all different types of things on the phone, it's the kind of perfect phone for him. He can actually strip out the stuff that he doesn't need and just download the stuff that he needs on there. So you don't have, like, for example, your Samsung Galaxy Fold, right? It has the Samsung kind of skin and Samsung kind of branding. It's got the Samsung OS stuff on there. For, it's an Android OS, but it's all Samsungized.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I took away the Samsungization, and I actually just installed the Microsoft launcher. So I just installed that. I find it for me it works better for me, and I like all the stats that they show because they're more geeky company, so it works pretty well for me.
Yeah. So with the phone, like the Pixel, I mean, it's something that it runs faster, right? Because you've got this new chip as well, and the OS is optimized for everything that needs to run. If you compare the same kind of spec phone to another brand out there, it could be LG, it could be Samsung, whatever, you'll notice that the Pixel phone runs faster.
Yeah, it's very well optimized, just like an Apple phone.
Yeah, that's right, and you can download all the stuff from the App Store. I think a lot of the apps before, you're talking 5-6 years ago, people were thinking, well, I can't get this app for this, Android OS because it's not available. But I think a lot of developers now are on board with Android, so you don't have to worry about, will I get this app on Android? I think in the US, for example, and in Canada as well, the biggest selling phones are Android phones. Not your Apple, right? So people don't realize, hey, Apple's big, but then bigger selling phones are still Android. In Europe, I think it's 50-50. I think it's Apple just speaking a little bit, but in Asia, all Android phones.
Almost 100%.
Most of America, again, Android phones.
Yeah.
So
there's some new common features that come about with the Tensor chip upgrade. You're going to get faster voice assistant. Translate, questions, app navigation, voice typing is all faster, and even emojis when you do voice typing. I think one of the things that when you want them to give that seamless experience, and they did say that voice typing is a lot faster, provided that the phone recognizes your voice and types in the right things. You can now ask Google to give you a happy emoji, or a sad emoji, or an upside down happy face, specifically to finish off your text to make it seem like you are actually typing on the phone, which is interesting. Another dig at,
but you're just speaking
exactly, like you speak right into it and it's faster. And like Google says that there's data to prove that. I'm curious to find out whether or not I could perform that, because Google has tons of data on me. I've never been able to it's weird. I've never been able to ask Google to phone certain people on my phone in the car. It's still a mess. So I wonder how much better this will be if I don't look at it and just send the message to see if the other person on the other side will actually get the right message.
So wait a minute. For Amazon, you say, "Hey Alexa," right? For Google, what do you say?
Okay, Google.
On the voice. Oh, just "Hey Google." Oh, you got that working.
Someone talk to me. Cancel. All right. Anyway, another dig at Apple, of course, is Apple's reluctance to actually move to the new texting standard, which is RCS. Famously,
tell me about that.
What Tim Cook said was in an answer to a question from one of the audience about RCS and whether Apple would be moving there. Tim Cook said, "Well, buy your mom an Apple. That's his answer. It's like they said that there was no compelling reason or feedback from its users or customers to move to RCS. That Apple iMessaging was just fine. I don't know if that's more him protecting his market share by selling more phones, probably is, over just adopting the standard, right? So RCS is the new standard for multimedia messaging. It's basically over and above what MMS is. It combines everything together in a more end-to-end encrypted, secure way to do things amongst all the other phones in the industry except for Apple. Apple is the only holdout. I have a feeling that Apple, if they lose the iMessaging beachhead, it'll become very generic. In fact, there are a lot of studies in the U.S. right now, and this is more of a USA specific problem where Apple messaging is it has a separation, has a divide that even on dating apps, when you text a girl and she sees that you are not on iMessaging or vice versa, you don't get the love that you would if you were on the same platform because the green bubbles, right, or the blue bubbles or whatever.
Yeah. It's because the green bubbles, when you text within iMessage, apparently it's free, right?
Yeah, it's free.
There's no charge. But if you go through a carrier and it's not on iMessage, if you got an Android phone, for example, it has to go through the carrier. Then it charges you per text. But of course, a lot of data plans and text plans are already included. They include that. But that's crazy. I mean, you can say, "Oh, yeah, you're not on iMessage." Swipe.
There have been studies,
swipe.
and in fact, in younger generations in high school, where cliques of people are on iPhones, when they see you text in as an Android user and you get the different colored bubble, they know that you're a lower class citizen, and they treat you as such.
What the hell?
Right. So
nuts.
Apple, in a way, is actually sowing the seeds of division.
Right? Yeah. I thought they were inclusive.
They clearly are not.
and promoting diversity and stuff like that.
Diversity is one thing, but RCS, I mean, can be an option. Why don't they offer people an option? Do you want to be on RCS, or do you want to be on Apple messaging? Offer both. Can you not do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a question not for me.
Well, it's like if you're on the MPEG kind of thing, right? I mean, MP3, MP4, and all that kind of stuff. Apple didn't want to pay for the MPEG kind of royalties and stuff like that, so they went there with their own. What's it called? QuickTime.
QuickTime. Yeah, no, sorry, you're talking video. Yeah, they use QuickTime. So AVI, not AVI, MOV files. But MOV, like that. This begs the question: Can they not offer choice on their own phones? Can they not offer a generic text messaging app with RCS, or can they just integrate it like Signal does? Signal works with everything, right? It's secure not with text messages, but it's secure within itself. But they tell you that. So I don't know what will happen there. I know that Apple has no plans to implement RCS onto their devices, even though it's a global standard, except for them. With every other carrier,
it's. Apple's always been like that. They're very kind of like proprietary, and they don't want to share their, or open up to all other guys. So
chances are,
if you live in an Apple, you stay in an Apple.
Chances are they do probably already have a team working on that, because ultimately, like in the EU, you will be forced to go to USB-C and dump Lightning.
Oh yeah.
So if the government, if the EU says, "Hey, RCS is the standard here," your iMessaging breaks some sort of European law, you need to go to RCS or implement it.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
They would be forced.
I mean, how? So all these new Android-based phones, they use the USB-C connector, right?
Almost all of them.
Going forward, most of them. Now with Apple, how are they going to do that? Are they going to just give you a dongle?
Dongle life. Dongle life, right? That's an Apple thing.
And then you're going to pay for that, right? Like $20 for a stupid dongle.
It wouldn't be the first time that Apple created a dongle ecosystem.
Oh man, you know this headphone, right? Got this 3.5 millimeter, right? So if I'm going to plug this into an Apple, I need that Lightning to 3.5 dongle, right? So. And I realized if I use that, I can't charge my phone anymore.
That's right. You have to make a choice. You either charge me or you listen to me. Or you use AirPods or crazy. AirPods Max. You have to go wireless.
Oh yeah, you have to use their
products. They are better. Here you go, wireless life.
Yeah.
Couple new things from the Pixel 7 Pro, or Pixel 7 specifically. This is inclusive of the two. Is that it has a new recorder app to talk about. It can actually transcribe and then allow you to assign different tags to different speakers. So if you're working on a story, or you're recording a lecture or something like that, someone else speaks, you can say student number 1, student number 2, all the questions and everything. You can label stuff like that.
Cool.
It is transcribed as text, so it will help you with your notes and everything like that. So you can actually just leave your phone on your desk in class and just walk away and come back and everything will be done for you.
Yeah, it just records everything.
Right. Clearer calling is something that is happening specifically with the machine learning. It learns to recognize voices and isolate sounds, and with the privacy and the small footprint of data, it does that processing all within the Tensor chip on board, which is great. And this includes the hold for me, wait times, and call screening. These are all great features that Google has implemented that I don't think are on Apple phones. I could be wrong, so leave a comment below if I completely blew that. But I think that these are really neat features. In fact, one of the features that I love is, how you go into go call a corporation and they have this menu system. Google actually figures out the menu system and allows you to just tap on the screen to get through all of their options. Saves you a ton of time.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
That's true.
It even
That's
has
true.
call waiting.
Because you don't have to listen to or watch it. You just
press it.
you know, like you press 1, 2, and then it'll go straight to the department that you're
it knows.
searching
It'll
for.
even give you hold times as well too, and it'll and things like that. So very good for voice calls. I know that the world is shifting away from voice and doing more electronic communications, emails, direct through social. But for someone that does use the phone on a daily, great features. Computational photography, another dig at Apple. They said that the conversation around computational photography did not happen until Google started that conversation with the first Pixel. And there they go. So they've got, like Google takes credit for this. Real Tone, which is their first foray into something that was meaningful for humans, is to have the real tone quality of what human skin looks like. I know that other phones, they try to figure it out, but they end up turning people color, their skin turns to ash.
Yeah,
it doesn't look right. And they've used a database of over 10,000 images in order to get it right. So this is probably, like they said in the presentation, it's the most inclusive camera in the world. So this is a great feature.
Well, yeah, I mean, if that's all boils down to or based on what they've been doing with their OS, right, and also machine learning and things like that. Have you ever used the Google search and there's on the phone or the Google app, there's a search button and also a camera button on the search part. So you can take a photo of something and it will recognize that image and then it will search all related products or searches or whatever based on that photo. And vice versa, you can, I think it's called Google Lens, I think they call it.
Yeah.
And so with that, with the machine learning, with all the data that they gathered over the thousands of images, they can actually, like I said, it's computational, right? And it's something that, Android OS have had for many years, in fact.
Yeah, in fact, one of the other features that kind of give a really great duo of accessible features for the Pixel series is now something called accessible camera guided frame. So if you're a sight impaired person, you can't quite see what's going on, the camera sees for you and it can actually take your selfie, and that it can actually help you with your photography. It'll guide you to move left, right, down, and it'll take great photos. Of course, there's also a certain level of artistic quality that you might not be able to get because it's guided, but at least you'll be able to take photos that show everything in the frame rather than being off, that will be in focus, that will be pleasantly composed. And this is going to help a lot of people that either A, they're sight impaired, or B, they're just terrible photographers and they need help. They will learn from the AI.
Yeah, they'll learn.
And speaking to that, a bunch of new machine learning AI features have come out for this. Now you can unblur photos that were blurry in the first place using AI and machine learning. This is for everyone that has a Pixel 7 camera moving forward and Google Photos account. So you can actually not only salvage the photos on your Google Pixel 7 series phone that had a bit of a miss, so you can unblur those. I believe this is also a backwards compatible feature. I don't know how far back it goes, but you can unblur those photos. It uses the machine learning on your device to actually unblur them, which is great. The other part of it too is that if you have photos taken from another camera in the past, as long as you have a Google Pixel 7 series phone and Google Photos, you can actually go back in your library, find all the blurry photos, and you can actually re-enhance them.
Wow.
Amazing.
Okay, so
yeah,
amazing. Yeah, they've also mentioned, which I thought was quite interesting, the new Pixel 7 with their OS have a built-in VPN.
Yeah,
kind of like it's a VPN.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more.
It's a feature that will be rolling out in the near future. They didn't give an exact timeline because they're always kind of vague on that, but they want to kind of this goes into the fact that the Pixel is the most secure phones. That's what they're going for. So this will protect your device when you're roaming on different networks. Having said that, though, my Galaxy Z Flip 4 already has that feature. It's a VPN that's built in. That if I don't whitelist a certain network, like the ones in my home, they're completely whitelisted. They're fine. If I go out anywhere, it'll turn on the VPN automatically. But there is a certain limit to the amount of data that it will filter. So that's a detriment.
Right.
I believe that what they said here is that as long as you have a Google One account with Google, it will be free for you. So maybe what Samsung is doing is they're pushing this feature forward first, and then Google is going to do it in their next revision. But the feature already exists out there. I think it's a good feature. I think this is a great way to secure people.
I think so. And especially if you're traveling to countries where certain things are banned, but you have access, you need access to those certain platforms and sites and stuff like that. So if you have an OS plus a data plan, whatever, that's back to your own country, then you should be able to use the VPN.
So that's again, that's all about Google's commitment to a more secure phone, which I applaud. This is a good idea.
Yeah.
The other thing coming up is, of course, with the camera again. Like we've got cinematic blur. Have you heard of this? Maybe it's on an Apple phone there. So. So for basically the first part of this discussion about the camera, it's been digging into Apple, saying we've done all this stuff first, and now they're stealing cinematic mode. So this is like the blurry background with the in focus person.
That's right. It is nice if you're doing kind of like some footage and you're focusing on the person. Everything else kind of, it's not like full blur. It's like you got that cinematic blur at the back. It's just, and then you focus it out to something else, and it works quite nice. And anyway, like I said before, a lot of the new features that you find on Android, Samsung, LG, other Android-based phones, a lot of those features are like 2 to 3 years ago. You already had them, right? For Android-based phones, and Apple's only just putting them into their phone. I think, like I said, a lot of the Apple stuff are waiting to see how the market reacts and how consumer reacts with these new features, and then if it's okay and people are good with it and they like it, then they put them into the iPhones. But a lot of the new features are always going to be first on Google or Android.
I don't prefer the feature myself. I think it looks very artificial no matter how you do it. I mean, machine learning can only do so much from a focus puller point of view. So I still prefer the real thing because it just doesn't look right. But again, like moving forward on the video features, you still have 10-bit HDR. You have 4K 60 frames per second on both of the devices. One feature that I thought was really interesting and also very important is that if you're a vlogger or if you're doing recording on the road, they also have the speech enhancement as well too, which uses the machine learning to learn your voice, to actually train it to your voice and actually zero in on that so it can actually understand what you're saying in noisy environments. I think that's a very great creator feature, which a lot of people will definitely enjoy. And speaking of creator apps and everything like that, they've partnered with Snapchat, TikTok, and of course YouTube, which is one of the Google family of companies, to actually have the ability to upload 4K HDR videos and allow them to, HDR videos to begin with, or any video, and have it look faithful to what was coming out of the camera, which I think is very important. We know that a lot of times when you record on another camera, you upload it to YouTube, you upload it to Facebook, you upload it to Instagram, it looks like crap because it's been compressed to hell. So this is also a great thing. I also like the fact that hardware and software image stabilization are now working really well together. So when you are doing those face tracking shots and you're walking through the crowd for your vlog and everything like that, it's going to subject track you. It's not a generic image stabilization. It's actually zeroing in on your face, zeroing in on what you're looking at, and giving you a proper stabilization that you would normally have to do with keyframes in After Effects or some other video editing software. So I think that that's very powerful and will make things look so much better on the internet.
Oh yeah. I think a lot of people don't understand or realize how much computational stuff that you need to get that. image stabilization. It's literally, the process is probably working 100%.
Yeah, it would have to be. So this is again, like, battery life will actually improve. How will it improve, and in what ways, right? So it'll be interesting to see if someone records with the phone all day long and creates with it, what that battery life will actually look like.
Well, talking about cameras on phones, I've been using my iPhone as a tool for my stuff, right? So I've been taking photos, videos. I use it for calls, messaging, all that kind of stuff, right? And then I realized that I needed another device, not just a camera. I mean, great, I love a DSLR camera there, it's working fine, but I want a mobile device which I can carry with me and do my creative shots, footage and stuff like that. And sometimes it's not easy just grabbing a camera with all the equipment. I just grab my phone, but I can't use one phone to do everything because I need messaging and stuff like that. So I love that on for my messaging and phones and calls, and then I have another camera, a mobile phone for the video work. I think I've seen a lot of creators now having two mobile phones, one for their own personal stuff, one for their creating. And,
it's very common.
Because
if you lose one, you still have the other one.
Oh,
right. And assuming that it doesn't die on the way down into the canyon, it can still upload most of your stuff to the cloud. So you'll see it in Google Photos later on. It's like, oh, hey, got it, but it's dead. That's too bad.
And you could do tracking, find out, ping the phone.
Yeah, but I'm not going down there to pick it up. More camera features, of course. One of the things that the Google, the first Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro was the folded camera. So it was an accordion inside, but only gave one level of zoom. The new camera now, and I think that they might be rolling this out to the previous camera as well too, is that it's also got on both cameras an enhanced zoom that has more of a range of zoom rather than a distinct stop from one to the other. I know that's very annoying when it just stops. So it'll oversample the 50 megapixel sensor on both cameras and give you at least 2x zoom. It remosaics everything. It'll give you a 12.5 megapixel photo. This is not for video yet. And it didn't mention any about that, but I don't know anyone that wants to make a photo that's like that. It's just going to be blurry, right? For the Pixel 7 Pro, however, what happens is that for its zoom range, it'll go up to 30x because it has the additional zoom camera. That's why the Pixel 7 has two cameras. The Pixel 7 Pro has the third camera, which is a zoom. It'll take you up to 30x, and anything above 15x, it will add image stabilization with hardware and software to it, so you can actually get the shot and compose.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I'm not sure if people use the zoom before on normal phone cameras. And when you zoom in, your hands are shaking like minimal, but the image is all over the place.
What are you looking at, buddy?
It's like jumping. You're saying that when you zoom in like that, the image stabilization and hardware
work together.
Stabilization will actually work together to get that kind of more.
It'll help you
shot.
Get the shot,
okay, that's good.
Which means that I don't think this is going to be for like for National Geographic or anything like that. They did show an example of a leopard, which you have to be, or a lion, which you have to be further away from, but if you are still enough, and if you are zooming that far in, and you don't rely on any of the processing as much, because anytime you move the camera, it's going to try to sample it, you might get a decent usable shot. And because Google is also going to post-process it with the remosaicing and sharpening and everything like that, you might actually get an image that might be usable when it otherwise would not be. And this is also the unblur, the unblur feature and everything like that. All this machine learning is doing so much work that's helping you out. It's also using all the cameras as well too, to kind of figure it out where you are. So it'll fix the image. It will not be the best. Don't get me wrong. Anytime you zoom on the camera and software and hardware take over, it's kind of potato. But at least this way, you get a usable shot. You get to remember that memory in a way that it doesn't look like crap, which is great. One of my favorite features though of the 7 Pro is the macro focus, the macro mode. This is the motherboard camera.
Oh, the macro. close up
3
shots,
centimeters.
real close up shots.
3 centimeters from the device. So if you have a socket core, or sorry, a mobile a socket on a motherboard and it's got a bent pin, you can actually take a photo of that 3 centimeters away to show I didn't messed up.
Nice. I like the macro shots. That's one of the stuff I've been missing for all these years for a camera, and then I realized, hey, you know, the cameras now will have come with the macro shots, and the first time last year was the Apple 13 Pro, but you know, with the new Google Pixel 7 now has the macro shot.
And this is an exclusive feature on 7 Pro because the macro focus is exclusively on the wide angle. It's 21% wider than the Pixel 7, and it's 3 centimeters away as its distance. It's good enough to take pictures of bugs, raindrops, grains of pollen, even the pores on your face. It will get that. So it's very fun to use something like that for more creative purposes. So of the two, I mean, to wrap it all up, if you are a photographer, if you want to create more, definitely get the Pixel 7 Pro. But for everything else, the Pixel 7 is extremely powerful. And because of the price point, did we give the price? I don't think we did.
No, so go ahead. Let me know.
Because it's probably already leaked already. The Pixel 7 Pro will start at $899, which is under flagship pricing for most phones out there.
That's good. How much? $899.
Like, how much less is that over a iPhone 14 Pro Max?
It was right? It's a good chunk. Yeah. I know it's about $1,000.
Okay, so the Pixel 7 is $599 US.
That's even cheap.
Get this. That's like what they said at the event too is that there is a trade-in offer for your, I think, a previous phone. It'll take almost all the money off. You basically 1-for-1 swap, depending on the phone.
Oh, so really?
U.S. carrier type pricing. They told everyone to keep an eye out for all these offers depending on the region. So you could get a Pixel 7 Pro for next to nothing. I'm gonna check this out. Right? I have a OnePlus over here somewhere.
I have a Samsung 2022A or G. I can't remember which model it is. I could trade that in, right, and get myself one of these. So. Wow. Okay.
And offers that they have for monthly payments.
See, that's the thing with a thing with Android phones is that it's so integrated with your Gmail. You sign in with your Gmail. It's already in there. Google, YouTube, all that kind of stuff, and you got your the Google Notes. And sheets and all that kind of stuff. It's a really good phone. I would really, if I didn't have the problem with the iPhone, I would go for an Android phone definitely, because every day I use Gmail. Every day I use all these notes and sheets and stuff like that. And with Google Meets, oh my God, I use that as well with the video calling. Last year when I did all my streams, I used the Google Meets. So definitely, if you haven't got the chance to get an iPhone and you want something affordable like this, then go ahead, because this is one powerful phone and it's cheap, affordable, and it's got all those features.
And they said that outright, is that they didn't want to price this phone at a flagship price. They wanted to bring it just a little bit underneath so you can get all the powerful features, all the machine learning, all the AI, everything, and get you locked into the Google ecosystem, which is basically what they want. And they don't. I don't think they care whether or not you're a Samsung customer or any other customer of theirs. It's all the Google ecosystem, but it just does it just a little bit better inside the Google Pixel branded ecosystem, which is great. And if you have any really amazing offers that you've seen out there from any carrier, drop them below. This might help someone save some money in the comments. So make sure that you sound off saying that, hey, if you upgrade from the 12 Pro Max iPhone and you trade it in, you're going to get like $1,000 off or something like that. That would be incredible. But again, we don't know enough about that because offers vary by region. So I'm going to have a look at some of the Canadian offers as soon as possible just to see what kind of out there. I don't think it's going to match the offer that I got from Samsung for the Galaxy Flip 4, where my bill basically was this big and it ended up being less.
It's literally half price. You got a half price.
No? How
less
could
than
I
half
say
price.
No? But that is everything that we have for you. And I hope that this looks like Google trying again. But what worries me is that Google has a reputation for killing things off that don't work. So I wonder if the tablet will ever make it to Generation 2. I wonder if the Tensor chips will actually make it out of Generation 2 as well too. And I wonder if any of these new apps and innovations will just either they'll be good or they'll just die off. They did mention feature drops as well too. So these teams working on them, I hope that their work is recognized and will last, because if you put out a feature in 6 months and it gets turfed, your team worked on that for 6 months. It's gone, right? So I don't know what to think. I hope they are a necessary foil in the home space for Alexa. I really, really, really do hope that they figure this stuff out. But on the creative side, again, my thoughts, super bland. I hope you prove me wrong, Google.
Yeah, if they had the chance, or maybe spend some time to go think about going towards how Amazon is heading, I think you don't have to copy them everything, but take some notes, take some ideas of what the Amazon have done with the the whole Alexa ecosystem. I think if they taken that into account, maybe Google will be.
It's a huge head start, but if anyone has enough money to kind of go after that space, I would have to say it would need to be a Google to go after it, because they got the robot that throws itself off the cliff. It's got cameras everywhere. I mean, yes, I know that Nest exists, but it's not as good. I'm sorry, not right now. But anyhow, that is all the time that we have this week. If someone wants to yell at you, Winston, where would they need to go?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at Winston Jim, or Twitter at Winston Jim. Again, nothing to do with tech, mostly just lifestyle stuff, food, shopping, whatever. But that's where you'll find me.
If you want to yell at me, you can interact with me on Twitter at Stephen Fung, or on Instagram at Stephen Fung as well. And that's all the time we have for our podcast show this week. Make sure that you leave your comments below and subscribe. It helps us out, and Winston and I can let you know exactly when the next show drops, which is every Wednesday at around the same time. That's all for me. I'm out. Peace.
See ya.